Hello everyone, hi! So I thought it's time for a little bit of a life update. 1/3 of my time in Paris here is already over. So in this video I'm just gonna fill you in a little bit about how it's going at university with my courses, how I'm doing speaking French, how that is progressing, what I'm reading, and just how I'm feeling in general here in Paris. A lot is going on and I really feel like I need a little check-in moment, not just for myself but also to keep all of you up to speed with what has been going on. In case you're new here and this is the first video of mine you're watching, my name is Maria. Hello, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm currently spending a semester in Paris where I usually study comparative literature in Vienna. So I'm super happy about this opportunity. I document a lot of my studies and my love and passion for literature and languages here on this channel. So if you're enjoying it, I hope you'll consider subscribing and consider buying me a coffee. I'll always link it in the description box below. I'm not feeling very articulate today for some reason. I think maybe let's just get right into the video, right? I have a little bit of a theory, or I've observed something in myself where it seems like I can only really speak two languages well at the same time. And when I'm learning another language or using another language a lot, it's almost like elbowing its way to the front of my mind, and I then just lose my command of the other languages. And usually when I'm at home, the two languages I speak most are German, because most of my studies are in German. I live in Austria, I speak German with most of my friends and my family. And English, because I prefer reading in English. I make these YouTube videos. I do have quite some people in my life that I speak English with. So usually it's those two languages. But right now, I'm really not speaking English a lot. I'm mostly reading in French, and that just made me realize over my last few videos that my English is kind of on the decline. Like, it's fine, right? It's gonna be back, and it's not a big deal. It's just an interesting phenomenon that I have observed. Like in my last video, I think I talked about subjects. And I noticed how I was saying subjects with like a very soft, I did it again, with a very soft S, because in French you say sujet, there it is a very soft S. Overall, I'm quite happy with my level of French. The most important fact is that I'm understanding what my professors are saying in the courses. In case you haven't seen my video on the courses I'm taking, I'm linking it up here. 8 of the 9 courses are in French and I'm able to follow my professors. So it's all good. That is the most important thing. I'm also realizing though that even though my French is good, the requirement is really high as well. Because I study literature, right? So reading those literary texts, sometimes from hundreds of years ago, just puts the bar extremely high. So I always thought my French is really decent, and I think in everyday situations I can express myself, and I'm gonna film a video speaking French very soon so you can judge for yourself. But reading literary texts and discussing very complicated philosophical matters, there's just a lot of vocabularies that I still have to look up. So that is kind of a requirement that I just haven't had before in my life. Because when I learned how to speak French, I lived in Belgium for a year and I worked with people with mental disabilities. And I had a lot of speaking practice. That was great. I spoke French all day, every day for an entire year. But the vocabulary I needed was very basic compared to what I need now. You know, back then it was mostly cooking, making food, hanging out with people. And that was almost 10 years ago. And I didn't really read back then. And I for sure didn't read in French, and I for sure didn't read difficult literature. So yeah, I think to sum up my experience of speaking French, I'm on the one hand very content that it seems to be going well, and on the other hand I'm realizing how high the bar really is, and I love it, and it's kind of frustrating at the same time. Speaking of what I'm reading, maybe my experience is a little bit colored because I've just started Notre de Paris by Victor Hugo, and this is a classic I really wanted to read in my time here. It just seems like the quintessential book when living in Paris and liking literature to read. I cannot wait to get through it. I want to go see the Notre Dame. I mean, I've seen it a few times already from the outside. It's a very impressive building. I want to visit Victor Hugo's living place. It's a gorgeous little museum. I'm planning to vlog it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But man, this book is giving me such troubles. There's so many words I don't understand. It's wild. I think this is hands down the most difficult book I have ever read. And I'm listening to an audiobook at the same time as reading. So I recently got an Audible account, and you get one book a month for like 10 euros, and that is helping. That's great. That's the only way I'm actually getting through it. But even then, I'm still reading summaries after every chapter, just checking whether I understood what actually happens and what themes are going on, things like that. I'll keep you updated how it's going. I'm like 150 pages in. Other than that, I'm still reading the Nouvelle encyclopédie du savoir relatif et absolu by Bernard Werber. I've talked about that a little bit in my previous video. I have to read it for a course. Then I also went to the theater for the first time a few weeks back, and I watched Le Malade, Imaginaire by Moliere, and I got this lovely second-hand edition for €1. So I'm just flipping through that a little bit. I'm actually going to watch the play again when my brother is coming to visit next week, so that's lovely. I also have here the Dernier Jour, Le Dernier Jour d'un Condamné by Victor Hugo. It describes the last day of a man convicted for the death penalty. Propositions. I'm not sure what the right way of saying that is. See, it's like my English is saying goodbye. That was a lovely way to get into Victor Hugo's writing, because it's a very slim, relatively easy to read little book. I'll talk about all of these more, by the way, once I've gone through them and made my mind up. I would love to make a video eventually about where to start with French literature and talking about the classics and all that, but I'm just not there yet. I haven't read everything I want to read for that, and I don't feel like I have enough of an overview to really deliver that video yet. But I think at the end of my semester I'll have a better clue, and I'm really looking forward to making some dedicated French literature videos. I also got at the Shakespeare and Company bookstore A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. So this is in English, and I thought I just also want to read some books that are set in Paris, classics that evoke the spirit of the city. And I think I've heard... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. My brain. Bren Johnson? I cannot remember the name of the YouTube channel, but oh my gosh, someone I really like watching has just posted a video and talked about A Movable Feast, and I was like, perfect, that's exactly the recommendation I needed, because I've been looking for, yeah, as I said, books that are set in Paris. And then I'm also rereading / flipping through Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I also need that for a course of mine. Okay, so that's all about what I'm reading and how speaking French is going. Now, I think if I zoom out a little bit more in like a general way of life and how I'm doing here, this is what is going on. So I'm doing great and I'm really enjoying my time here. But I feel like there are 3 things I want to do when I'm here, and I continuously have to choose 2 of them. So, okay, let me explain. While I'm here, I really want to just enjoy my time in the city, right? I want to meet people, go to the theater, go to museums, just really soak up everything that is happening around here. At the same time, I want to be going to my courses and soaking up as much as I can at university. So I want to be good at my studies and I want to take them seriously. And then the 3rd thing I want to do is I want to document it all, or, parts of it, for this YouTube channel and bring you guys along and make these videos, because it's just a wonderful creative outlet for me and I really enjoy it. But I feel like I can only do 2 of those things at the same time. So if I have a week where I'm studying really hard and I'm filming, it feels like I don't really have time to actually enjoy my time here. And then vice versa, if I'm really going hard on my studies and I'm enjoying my time here, it feels like I don't have time to make a video. So my schedule has just been getting incredibly full, and I think I have to acknowledge the fact that I just cannot do it all, because the requirements at uni are just higher here. I'm doing a lot more courses than I would normally be doing back in Vienna. I'm going to uni every day, Monday through Friday, whereas usually back home I only go 3 days a week. There's the whole thing with the language barrier. It's kind of far away, so there are all these additional factors that I just underestimated. And even before coming to Paris, my life was already pretty full with all those things that I like doing. And right now I just, I have to admit that I cannot do it all anymore. So last week I didn't upload a video, which was a kind of a big deal to me, because I've been uploading every week for over a year now, and it felt really scary to break that streak. But there was just honestly no way I could have uploaded a video, because last week, just to give you a little bit of an insight into my uni life at the moment, I had an exposé, my first exposé, which means it's a little presentation where you speak in front of the class about a topic for 15 or 20 minutes. And I'm gonna have 6 exposés in my semester here in France. Back in Vienna, I had 1 for my entire first year. So I'm gonna have 6 here, and then I had my first one last week. And that went fine, and I was happy that I felt prepared. It was a lovely way to ease into the experience of speaking in front of a class in a language that is far from my mother tongue in every way. And that was good. On the same day, however, in the evening, in another class of mine, my professor asked me if I could do another exposé on Monday. So that was just 5 days out or something. He said it would be better for the flow of the class and how I feel about just moving my exposé up a little bit. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I can make that work. And I did make it work, but I just had no time at all to film a video that week, because that said second exposé I had to prepare was about Dostoevsky and Freud and psychoanalysis and philosophy, and just a lot of lofty, nuanced, difficult topics to discuss in any language, but especially in French. Yeah, it was the moment. I knew it was gonna come at some point, but it was the moment where I just had to admit to myself, I literally do not have time or the energy to film a YouTube video, unfortunately. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or anything, or like that is such a big deal. I know most of you don't care. Probably no one even noticed that I didn't upload a video. I know most of you will be like, girl, enjoy your time there, we'll be here when you're back, whatever. I know, everyone's super lovely. I really care about making my thought processes transparent here on my channel, not just about my studies, but also about this whole YouTube channel thing, because wherever this is going and whatever this will be in the future, I want to be transparent every step of the way, and I want to take you all along with me. This is completely new to me as well. I'm figuring everything out along the way. I'm doing the best I can. But there are just moments where I doubt myself and where I get into my own way. And last week was really difficult for me. I've talked to a couple of friends about the situation, and I just realized that I find it really admirable when people are consistent. And when someone, for example, has a YouTube channel and consistently posts great videos every week, to me, that is so admirable. And I always wanted to be one of those people. But also, first of all, eventually there comes a point when someone is sick or can't keep up with that anymore, so no one's actually uploading every week. But also I'm comparing myself with people whose full-time job it is to upload videos and to make content. And it's just simply not my full-time job. My full-time job is to study, and that is my first priority right now. And I just have to become okay with the fact that I cannot do absolutely everything I want to do absolutely every week, even though there are a lot of lovely videos I want to make while I'm here in France. I'm only one person and there's only 24 hours in a day. And I have to take care of myself and listen to the signals that I'm getting and that my body is sending me. And last week was just a point where I thought, okay, I really cannot keep going at that speed anymore all the time. It's just hard. This YouTube channel really feels like my baby in a way, and it's the first time something like this in my life really worked out, and I'm scared to lose it. I had irrational thoughts of it all collapsing. I've been a very creative person all my life, and I've tried so many things, and it's great. I learned from all of them. But this is the first time I'm actually having an audience, and I'm actually having a chance of making this into a living. So, I really feel like I have a lot of skin in the game with this entire channel and how it's going, because it's so me. And it feels like my heart is on the chopping block sometimes with those decisions. Yeah, I just felt like I couldn't keep making videos without just addressing that once. That is kind of a struggle that has been going on for a while in the back of my head, but that is becoming incredibly obvious now because I'm in this intense situation where there's a lot of demand put upon me from uni. Okay, I think you get it. Thanks for listening to this therapy session for myself. As for the rest of my life here in Paris, I'm really enjoying exploring this city slowly. It's an incredibly interesting place in the sense that I feel like I'm surprised every time I turn into a new street. It's completely different. I never know where I end up. There are so many different areas, like extremely touristy areas and crowded areas and really natural patches. I don't know, there's this park not far from where I live, and there's just sheep grazing there. and it's great. And it's just such a pleasure to have the time on the weekend to stroll around and go to the bookshops and all that. By the way, the meetup was lovely too, and there were 3 women there that I really got along with, and we all got along with each other really well. So we're going to go to the theater at some point, I think in a couple of weeks together. It's super lovely. As I said, my brother is going to visit me with 2 of his children, which is also so exciting. My niece, I think she's 11 right now, and she's really interested in learning French. She's never been to France though, so I don't know, that's very exciting. Another friend of mine is visiting me at the moment, actually waiting in the bedroom while I'm filming this video. I have bought concert tickets for Alcest in the beginning of December, and yeah, there's just I'm really trying to soak up all that I can while I'm staying here, because I love it so much. I'm really falling hard for the city to a point where I've thought about staying. You know, I've had some nights where I lay awake in bed and I thought maybe I should prolong my time here and just try to make it happen. But I think it's very unlikely that that's actually gonna happen, because this apartment that I'm staying here, that I'm so lucky to have found, it's gonna be sold. So the owner is gonna sell it once I move out. So in 2025, this is gonna belong to someone else. Someone else is gonna move in here. And then also my contract for my studies is only for 1 semester. So, you know, finding a place to live in Paris and prolonging that contract with uni seems incredibly difficult, and I'm pretty sure I'm also not gonna get financial support anymore then, so the chances are close to 0 that I'm actually doing it. But I'm just telling you that to say I'm already sad thinking about the day when I'm gonna have to leave, because this place is just growing on me. There's something magical here, and I know I don't want to stay forever, right? I'm not gonna live in a city for the rest of my life, but I wouldn't mind a year or 2. It just has an incredible allure. So, you know, that's another reason why I'm really trying to be present and just soak up as much as I can from this beautiful experience that I'm so fortunate to have. And I almost didn't do it, you guys. That's also something I've thought about the other day, is that a year ago when I thought about applying for a semester abroad, I almost didn't do it. I had a lot of doubts in my mind that I'm not gonna go into here. But it was a very last minute decision after a very intense therapy session that I decided that I have to try at least to apply anyways. And I think the last day to apply was March 1st of this year, of 2024. And I think I sent in my application that day, actually. And I've written it the day before, so I was this close to not even trying. And after that therapy session, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna try. What's the worst that can happen? I'm just gonna pick the one uni I want to go to, the loftiest goal I can set myself, to go to the Sorbonne Nouvelle University in Paris. And I'll give it a try, you know, why not? And I wrote an application, and I wrote about my love for Proust. And I just thought, this is the most honest thing I can write, and if it gets me in, it gets me in. And it actually did. And after a mountain of paperwork, I'm actually here. I always said that I don't believe it until I actually sit in one of these classes. But now I do, and now it's actually happening, and I just feel so grateful. I always have to think about my grandma in these moments. She was born in 1913, I think. So she lived through both wars. And she was an incredibly intelligent woman, and she would have always loved to study. My dad always said she was so intelligent, and when she was a young woman, she went to England to learn how to speak English, but she had to work as a maid for a very rich family, and she cooked and ironed and cleaned and all that, and in the process she learned how to speak English. And her only free time during the week was to go on a walk on Sunday afternoon with the family. And all the other time she had to work. And then when the war broke out, she had to decide whether she would stay in England or come back to Austria. And she came back, and, you know, during war and all those difficult times, she just... There was no way she could have financially afforded to, as a woman most of all, go to university and study, but she would have loved to, you know. And I'm feeling a little bit emotional thinking about that, because that's not even 100 years ago, and I'm so lucky now that I'm in a position in all these ways to do something like that. And it always feels like a little bit like I'm doing it for her. I was her youngest grandchild, and yeah, she just carried a lot of trauma with her from both of these wars, and I always knew she could speak English very well, but she never spoke to me, and I was kind of a bit too young to really have a close relationship with her, but I always felt like a lot connected us, and, you know, the love for languages and learning is one of the things that really connect us. And I have to stop talking about that now because it's making me emotional. But I think that's a good note to end on. So I hope you have enjoyed this little life update. That's all the things that are going on in my head at the moment. I'm feeling incredibly inspired and happy, and I have so much ideas of content I want to make and all that. So super happy to be working on that at the capacity that I can while still studying. So yeah, thank you for being here. I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.